honor.
I've been wanting to talk to Jonathon. Jonathon Goldman is an amazing authority on sound healing. He's actually done work on the Lost Chord. He has the best-selling 7 Secrets of Sound Healing and the latest Divine Name. You were the 2011 Visionary Award winner for the Best Alternative Health Book. And you also are the president of Spirit Music in Boulder, Colorado. You're a Grammy nominee, and you I love the book you have out, I got, on humming and the power of humming and doing, and that's very interesting and powerful. I didn't know about the power of humming till I started reading this book.
Cindy, I was just revisiting that 10 minutes ago, believe it or not, because I've been continued to, shall we say, really, first of all, hello, I'm sorry to interject like this, but
no, it's fine.
It's so funny you're mentioning the humming effect, because I'm just, I realize that I probably should really get on a major bandwagon, get everybody to start humming and experiencing the therapeutic effects. I've been a little casual on that, but it's been catching on anyway.
Well, you think about kids, and how they hum, and how sometimes people hum while they're doing their work. You've seen it and heard it, and it's such a natural thing until we realize how powerful humming really is. Humming is a huge healing thing, and then you think and start to feel how the humming kind of reverberates through your whole body, right?
Well, my wife Andi and I try to teach something that we call conscious humming, which is humming, if you like, with the concept of intention. So, doing it for a purpose. Because a lot of times when people hum, they do it unconsciously, and they do it because they feel good. But if you close your eyes and you just start to hum, you become aware of the power of the vibrations to literally affect you on what they call a vibroacoustic level, and causing the release of all sorts of various neurochemicals from melatonin to nitric oxide to actually reducing your heart rate, your respiration, so it gets rid of cortisol and all this stuff. So it's actually fabulous. It's fabulous medicine that doesn't cost any money and something anybody can do.
Well, it probably was influenced also because you had a chance to go to some of the amazing at the Drepung Monastery, which I was at. There's chanting there, and you had a chance to chant with the Gyato monks, who actually were here on Maui, and I got a chance to see them. But they do the overtones, and it's people think, oh, what am I going to see? But there's this amazing, again, this sound thing going on, where you're really creating.
Does it sound anything like this, Cindy?
That's powerful. Yes, it sounds like that. So if you combine that with humming ever and see what happens, you explode if you combine humming with the sound.
I don't know that you can, because in order to properly hum, you literally have to close your lips, and this is and in order to do the Tibetan deep voice, your mouth has got to be open, and that was just for your listeners an example of the Tibetan deep voice, which I was initiated in many, many years ago, and what an incredible and powerful thing, but not something I can easily teach people.
Well, you are in the upper ranks. You were listed as one of the 100 most spiritually influential people on the planet, and you had a chance to work with a guy I just adore, Gregg Braden. I know his wife well, Martha, and I actually saw him at the Grammys last year. He came because Martha went, but you did the Divine Name, who you co-created that with Gregg. Now, tell us about the Divine Name.
The Divine Name is basically a universal sound that works with a system of vowels that I discovered in 1986 that goes from the crown or the top of the head all the way down to the root and then back up again. And it's an incredibly powerful sound. It's a universal sound, and it also most probably is the name that Moses received from the burning bush for when he said, "Who are you?" First, the burning bush says, "I am that I am," which is sort of a description of I'm everything. And then he says, "My name is," and he makes this particular sound, if you like, and it's really, really powerful.
So how did you trace down what that was? How did you discover that and able to try to recreate that? Charlton Heston, I know. Charlton Heston came into...
No. Here we go. So I literally, I've been teaching the system, working with the vowel sounds to resonate the chakras, going from the root to the crown, for about 15 years, and I had a dream. And as I'm coming out of the dream, this voice says, we want you to basically sound the vowels using the, system that you have, but go start from the crown, go down to the root, then back up again. And I did, and when I did, two things happened. First of all, the energy, of course, went from the top of my head down to the base of my spine and then back up again. But also, I heard a sound that, I said, boy, I think this is the ancient sacred name of the divine that was basically lost for probably 2,500 plus years. And it's written in Hebrew as YHVH. And a lot of people say, well, the name is Yahweh, but actually it's a name that needs to be intoned. And I could play you a little clip, if you like, of my intoning that. Might take me a moment to find it.
Yeah.
But,
well, while you are, let's mention that it's World Healing Day that you've created, and you're going to celebrate, interesting enough, on Valentine's Day, right?
Well, right, yes. This is the 17th annual World Sound Healing Day. And a couple of years after being in meditation, having that, if you like, voice saying to me, do the sound this way, the voice said to me, or another voice, whomever it was, said, okay, you've spent the last close to 20 years bringing awareness of sound and how sound can be used to heal to the general public. This is great. Continue doing that. But now we want you to incorporate another aspect, which is using sound to heal the planet. I went, great, how do I do that? And then contact was broken, and I had to figure it out myself.
I hate when that happens. Wait a second. Who did that? Who broke that contact?
Well, it wasn't me. But oftentimes, shall I say, given some work, and you were asking about the divine name, and literally, I mentioned to Gregg that I had discovered this when I found out he was teaching what is called the God Code. But before that, I just felt it was a little bit too, if you like, powerful to present to the public until there was a good background and understanding of the power of this name, because it was just, from my perspective, it's probably the most powerful sound that I've ever experienced, and yet I didn't feel that it was necessarily appropriate to begin teaching people. I would only teach the highest level of students that I had, and then I started working with Gregg, and he would teach the God Code, and I would teach the Divine Name, and everything was very cool, and people have and continue to have extraordinary powerful experiences. Shall I?
Yeah.
I've sort of got it queued up, so
sure.
I will just basically, this is me in a recording doing something, and I'll just bring it up a little bit, and you'll be able to hear it, because it... That is me playing a Rose Bowl, but here's a complete sequence of it coming up.
This is I don't know how you quite recorded that, but you almost got that. When I hear it, I think of being inside the pyramid, the Great Pyramid.
Well, I was looking for that, and I was, it was an intention of mine, but you can also hear that it's not necessarily a spoken name. It's an intoned sound.
Well, wasn't it said it's the unspeakable name, the holy name that's the unspeakable name, right?
Yeah, so you can't speak it, but you can sound it.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah. And again, how powerful it is, of course, is a lot of your work is meant to be heard in meditation, and is meditational work, right?
Well, for sure. And then, I was quite content with simply doing this recording, and then some inner voice said, well, now it's time to try to teach it to people and write this book, which is fascinating and gives you all sorts of interesting, if you like, aspects of how sound can heal, how this name came to you, and it's certainly a journey, and it's a book that I love, but and I almost went from, pardon the expression, the alpha to the omega from the divine name, which is really this quite complex to the concept of humming. And which do I do more? Oh, they both have intentional appropriations. And then we're talking about World Sound Healing Day. Okay, what sound would you make if you were gonna want to send, for want of a better term, a sonic valentine, some sort of positive energy to the planet? And it's okay, well, you could do an om for sure, which could be a hum. There are a lot of different sacred seed syllables. I wouldn't want to do too complex a thing. I thought, how about an ah sound? Because the ah is oftentimes the vowel sound for the heart center.
Well, and don't most people say that actually om is supposed to be A-U-M, but aum?
You totally got that one there. It's aum.
Yeah, with the M being the hum carried out for as long as you can, correct?
Well, that certainly would be it. And when we do we do an event in Boulder, but there are literally tens of thousands of people throughout the planet who are doing this, and we just have them first. We suggest that they go to a website that we designed simply for this called worldsoundhealingday.org, and there's all sorts of information and free downloads, and you can check out groups that are going on near you, though a lot of times people are running a group and they forget to post it on their website, but there's that. And then we have this another website, which is the world's first cyberspace sacred sound temple, called the Temple of Sacred Sound. And you go to the ah chamber, and
the ah is one of the most powerful vowels, because you think of God, you think of amen, amen. If you go even Rama, and there's all of these.
Tara, Buddha,
yeah,
Krishna, yeah.
Ah is a very, very one of the most.
Aloha.
Yes, the ah is the ah is an opening sound as well. It's the sound that opens, right?
Yeah,
and it's interesting if you think of M at the end, the humming, kind of closing it, but the opening and then carrying it through with the humming, which you have in your book, which is really powerful to read. The power of humming.
Well, I do appreciate that, Cindy. And
so, how do you tie the ah and then in with the humming at the end? And how will you be doing this on World Sound Healing Day on February 14th?
I usually do a straight ah.
You do a straight ah. Oh, okay.
Now, but you can make any sound that you want as long as you project it with the intentionality of love and compassion. And because when you do that, and I'd like to suggest that, for example, with the Temple of Sacred Sound, we have certain steps that you do so that, for example, you begin to, that are suggested to do. You begin to take some nice, deep breaths. Then you think of something that you feel real appreciation for. And then you start breathing in and out. You visualize the breath going in and out from your heart as you're feeling this appreciation. When that happens, you get this heart-brain coherence, this, if you like, the synchronization of the heart and the brain, which is said to actually expand the electromagnetic field that is created 50 times, 500 times. People even speculate 5,000 times greater than normal.
So what would happen if you have the heart, brain, and the divine presence, and you bring in the soul and the presence with that and try to combine all of those together?
Yes, indeed. And once again, the idea is that the field of the planet may well be a living energy form. Mm-hmm. And if we can somehow interface with that, sending more love and healing and positive energy there, then perhaps it might be possible, and I do believe that it is, possible, and the research that's been done seems to indicate that it's possible, but the idea that we can somehow raise the consciousness of all sentient beings on the planet, which I think is mandatory at this point in time and space in our evolutionary development. Don't you think so?
I do, and I happen to buy that NASA. Maybe you already have it, so you're so into sound, but it has the sound of the world. It has the sound of different planets, and it's very interesting listening to the different sounds that they have through NASA. And if you think about the frequencies, there's frequencies that are this energy, and they're energy living frequencies. And when you all get together and do this, you can indeed feel like you're tuning in together, and there's this higher consciousness, especially if you can do it with the presence and your whole total awareness as well when you're doing that. I know the power of sound, and I do believe the power of sound is amazing. And I mean, I love writing words. I have 6 CDs out, but I use spoken word a lot with the sound. And because the word with sound is an amazingly powerful healing thing. And pure sound
it really is.
And it's been going on since the beginning. Yeah, it's.
And this is something else that I was just working on recently. Is the concept of guided meditations and how positive affirmations, etc., coupled with sound, really creates an almost unbeatable situation. If you think about it, a majority of the prayers on our planet are vocalized. Mm-hmm. They're whispered, they're spoken, they're chanted, they're sung.
They're declared.
And why is this? I think it's something as simple as this phenomena. I think sound amplifies, enhances the power of prayer and meditation.
Mm-hmm. And chanting here in Hawaii. Chanting, of course, you feel that energy as well.
Again, that's a vocalized sound. So yes, totally. Chanting is one of my favorite things, indeed.
Yeah. No, you do. Well, you do it obviously because you've studied it and you even graduated with that and studied that. And it's a wonderful thing to do, and I think more and more people are now understanding it. And I do recommend people going to your website. HealingSounds.com is one, but now you have one for the World Sound Healing Day as well that people can go to. I guess you could go to Healing Sounds and then get links there?
Well, you can certainly, and I invite people to come. Healing Sounds is our main website, and it's full of all sorts of information and all sorts of... it's a great award-winning website, but I so try to step outside World Sound Healing Day that oftentimes I don't even mention my own website. And there is, of course, a link to World Sound Healing Day, but I don't want people to think this is Jonathon Goldman's World Sound Healing Day, because it isn't. Mm-hmm. This is a co-creative experience that so many different people are involved in. Mm-hmm. So I really, so sometimes I almost consciously step out of the way and don't even get. So thank you for allowing people to know about HealingSounds.com.
We're out of time, Jonathon, but it's so good talking to you.
Right, World Sound Healing Day. Make an sound, if you can, any time during the day, or particularly at noontime, your local time, and go visit worldsoundhealingday.it, 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 worldsoundhealingday.it.